Greetings, people of YouTube. I know I said you'd be getting rid of me for a while, yet I just couldn't resist. I have decided to go back and to share my story of how I went from Christian over to atheist. This is the short version. As in, I won't be going into detail about every other aspect of life that was happening at the time affecting this decision, as that's information I'm not quite ready to, give out. For those who don't know, I was raised by my Catholic mother. I'm not here to argue with Americans about how Catholicism is a sect of Christianity, as I know the American evangelicals have run a successful campaign miseducating on that matter. However, what's important is to note that my mother was more cultural Catholic, in the way that she never forced it upon me or anything, and that's how I believe religion should be when it comes to children. I actually got my first personal Bible from school from a rather neutral church in which they didn't state that we're Catholic or we're Protestant. Other areas they weren't so neutral. I mean, I remember how this church came in and we were forced to listen through their speech, and then they made sure everybody left with a Bible, including the little Sikh girl, which back then I didn't notice to be at all dodgy. This was when I was about 11. All my schools have really had a high Christian profile. I remember in my last year of school, my head teacher came onto the stage at Easter and stated, "I'm not here to talk about religion," and proceeded to, go through the stages of the crucifixion. Anyway, that was my last year of school, in fact, right around this time of year last year. But let's go back to after I'd received my first Bible, in year 7 by our school system. So anyway, I read through it over the next couple of months, and I kind of got into some of the things. I wasn't devout or practicing or preaching or anything. I went to a children's club nearby called Crusaders. This is before I'd realised what a disgusting name this actually was for a children's church group. Then move on a couple of years to I was in by a school system, year 8 or 9, and something had happened. There was stuff at home, stuff at school, deaths of people I knew, and I became rather paranoid about this all-knowing and seeing God snuffing out people, something I would later come to refer to as my invisible sniper complex, and I became extremely sad constantly. This went on for months. Then, one night, I can remember my mother had a row with one of her partners at the time, at which point I paused to let Live Life know this is not the guy that I've talked to you about, and I'm still unable to talk about that in a video at the moment. So anyway, I remember this row happening, bullying at school and all the other shit I've just mentioned, and I ended up finding my Bible and looking up suicide. It was a student Bible with, an easy-to-use index. Some parts had been removed, but there were still some pretty dodgy bits in there. So yeah, I looked up suicide in the Bible, and it came up with some shit, and part of me just broke, I just snapped. I ended up burning the Bible then and there, and I could not believe the sense of freedom I gained from that. I mean, could you imagine wearing an old medieval chest plate of armor, 5 sizes too small, and then suddenly just being free of that, It gave me such an instant gratification. So yeah, I went from Christian to anti-Christian in one night, and I hated the God of the Bible. I still believed he was real at the time, but I wasn't going to be part of his perverted games anymore. I became withdrawn, and the next year passed in a sort of haze. But in the early year 11, I came to see how there was lacking evidence of God. So over time, my faith in God waned, yet I will admit that the hate still remains there. But now it's not, for the God who I don't actually believe exists. I mean, yeah, I can hate the idea of the God, but it's mainly the hate towards the non-secularized fuckers, pardon my language, who cause me to go through this pain. Do I hate Christians, however? No, as I stated before, I have never had an issue with my mother on this matter. Yes, she's worried about me, but she knows only I have the power over my beliefs. Then of course there's my sociology tutor, who I will state I adore her, as she's such a compassionate human, is also a Christian, a Protestant. However, she's grown up in Sweden, so perfectly secularized, so I give her no issues, and there are many similar cases such as this. The point is, it's not the Christian faith, it's Christian control I have a problem with. I don't believe that the state should have any power on a person's faith, picking, one religion or removing them all. Yeah, I just said I don't like Soviet Russia, as in my book they are not truly secularized. Sadly, that term has been perverted, so I generally use my own. What I want is something I call idealistic secularism, which means the government does not have a right to instate a religion or make them illegal. I am against child indoctrination fully, and I do believe that if there's a group being violent to another, as soon as the violence occurs, it goes from, something religious to being a civil matter. No longer religious, so the state must take action and prosecute the offender on the fullest of grounds. Say, none of this stupid shit that's been happening on with the Prophet Muhammad, the guy dressed up as a zombie Prophet Muhammad. Is that, really so unreasonable? I just want to ask that. So, there's my story on how I became an atheist. Remember, this is just the short version, and there are several things that have happened to me that I'm not comfortable talking about right at the current. However, maybe one day when the wounds have healed enough, I'll share my whole story. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for listening. This is Essence of 4. Don't forget to rate and comment down below with your own opinions. Feel free to share my videos. Live Life has been, helping me out. He's been allowing me on his blog TV. So yeah, thank you. This is Essence of Thought, out. Hey everyone again. I just wanted to do this quickly. I just wanted to show you something. This is the well, I kind of nicknamed it my lighter of freedom because this was the Zippo that I had used when I had set alight the Bible. I don't know if I should be showing this because I know there's quite a big fuss about burning holy books, but yeah, I've kept it even though, as you can see, the pattern's worn out and actually doesn't, it doesn't light anymore. I've still kept it, so it's just, it's just a bit of memorabilia. It's the end of my change, if you will. It's the tool that helps me become free. So yeah, thank you for watching again. This is Essence of 4. See ya.